You're still watching The Pulse on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. And just before the break, we were talking about the NDC's General Secretary, Johnson Asiedun Ketia, speaking to supporters in Nkwanta North, asking for them to double their votes in this year's elections. But it brings into sharp focus the issue of the strategy of the party and the kind of tours they've been on repeated in some regions and in certain parts of certain regions with just 47 days to go to the elections. Malik Abbas Dabu, he is with our political desk here at Joy News. He's joining me in the studio now for some analysis. Thank you for coming, Malik.
Good to be here.
Okay, now in terms of the movement of the top executives of the party, the NDC, I mean, you could tell that for the Brownsville region and part of the Volta region, there's been some kind of concentration. Let's begin from where the General Secretary spoke at in Nkwanta North, yeah, in the Volta region. What's the peculiar story there that's making them go back again and again, asking them to vote for them in this year's elections?
Okay, first, let's put all of this in a context. The NDC is a governing party. Opposition parties don't win elections. Traditionally, the governing parties lose them. I.e., the things that the governing parties do that make them lose power are the things that NDC wants to avoid. One of them is complacency. Second one is disillusionment. A lot of the time, you've been in power for 8 years and there are unmet expectations, and there are the people who worked for you in 2004, 2008, and you won power. They have certain expectations. A lot of the time, the expectations are unreasonable. And when these unreasonable expectations are unmet, they then decide to sit on the fence. They may or may not vote for your opponents, but they will not come out. If they don't come out, that's a problem for you. And I think that that's what governing parties tend to face. And we saw the MPP face it in 2008 because a larger number of their populace didn't come out, they didn't vote. And the party itself believed that everything was going well, there was complacency, and we discern that from Arthur Kennedy's book. So the NDC is keen to avoid that. So those areas that are things that, and if you heard Asiedun Ketia, he said, a certain elephant has reared here. Previously, I wouldn't have come here, but we have just found that a certain elephant has appeared here. I am here so that we can chase that elephant away.
I'll totally. But you see, Malik, on that point for Nkwanta North, one will ask, often something happens to allow the opposition get access to a ground which is naturally in the hands of another party. So what's that thing happening in Nkwanta North that's shifting in favor of the MPP, for which reason Mr. Asiedun Ketia has found it prudent to go there and tell them, guys, double up your efforts, we have to win this?
What's happening in Nkwanta North is that which is happening in the wider Volta region and in many other parts of the country. That is, the people have moved away from voting based on sentiments to now voting based on what their personal circumstances are. So that is a big problem. Now, previously, people in the Volta region largely would have voted because this is NDC. Now, and we took ballot box to Adaklu, and Joy News. And when we got there, you saw a queen mother come and show to the people gathered there a bottle of dirty water and said, this is the water that we drink. This is something you wouldn't have seen in the 1996 election. You wouldn't have seen it in the 2000 election. 2004, you wouldn't have seen it. 2016, you have a queen mother in the Volta region telling you that, look, we drink dirty water, we need better water, we deserve to have some. These are things that wouldn't have happened. Now they are happening. The NDC, I believe, is coming to the realization that it can no longer rely on historical enmity between groups for its votes in the Volta region. It has to show the people development. Of course, the NDC has shown it. The president told us about water that they have provided. They have provided electricity in forgotten villages in the region. One problem that has remained a big problem for many in this region, roads. And we heard the president say his government gave a certain road contract to one Chinese company and the work is not being done. His explanation was he believed that the contractor is overwhelmed and he was giving the contractor a 2-week ultimatum to deal with that, go back to site, do the job, or the contract will be taken away from him. Of course, we do know that Roads Minister Inus Ofuseni later explained that The contract itself was tied to a $3 billion Chinese loan that the government was trying to procure. And we know what the problems are. Government has not been able to secure this loan. And to the extent that government was unable to secure the loan, it couldn't finance the project. Therefore, the contractor stopped working. But of course, he explained that now government has made some money and they've asked the guy to go back and work. So if the people tell you, if we don't do our roads, we may not go out and vote for the MPP, but we may not go out and vote at all. And if your supporters don't go out and vote, remember I said governing parties tend to lose the election. If your people don't go out and vote, the opposition have a bigger motivation to go out. So they will go out and vote in their strongholds. Your stronghold, people don't come out and vote, you lose.
Okay, so for the Volta region, and based on what you've just explained, does it mean that there is a certain groundswell of support for the NPP, for instance? Because based on what I heard the General Secretary of the NDC mention, it looks as though things are beginning to get a little better for the NPP. For which reason the NDC does not want to be complacent?
It would turn more on apathy rather than groundswell of support for the NPP. The NPP support may go up, but I am not sure the NPP will want to push their luck. It may not go up significantly. What will happen is a lot of people just feeling that, look, there's no point. We have voted for these people every now and then, and we are not seeing any change in our lives. So if they don't go out and vote, apathy sets in and they don't go out and vote, that's
begins to hurt their fortunes.
Absolutely, and that's what the NDC is keen to avoid.
Okay, and I'm saying that bearing in mind what we've heard the MPP flag bearer mention just today about they targeting a minimum of 30% of votes from the Volta region. So it will be very interesting to see how this plays out on election day and how the votes go. But that's for Volta. How about the Brong-Ahafo region? It looks as though the visits there have been quite a lot. We've seen the president go there, the general secretary has been there. Now the chief of staff is also spending a lot of time in the Brong-Ahafo region. What's the trigger? What's making them go there a lot more often than the other regions?
We know that the Brong-Ahafo is one of the swing regions in this country and one of three: Central, Brong-Ahafo, Greater Accra. These are the three swing regions in the country, because largely Volta region, Upper West, Upper East, all of these ones will vote NDC. We know that Ashanti, Eastern will vote MPP. But Central, Brong-Ahafo, Greater Accra, they are the swing regions. Brong-Ahafo is where the First Lady comes from. I believe she's trying to establish her authority and dominance in this region. But we know what the problems are. DKM, a company, went to the place, decided that, look, give us money, give us your deposit, we will give you outrageous returns. A lot of people, poor people, farmers, teachers, all of them, they gathered money. Some actually went to banks, secured loans on the basis of their paltry salaries, deposited into this company. Nothing has come out. So a lot of people are embittered because of the problems that they have with their deposit. They expected government to have come and say, look, this is the money. The president, we heard when he delivered the State of the Nation address, saying that it was because of lax supervision by the central bank that was the reason why those things happened. They asked the question, who appointed the governor of the central bank? Who has jurisdiction over that? Whilst the central bank is an independent institution, you appoint the governor. If the governor doesn't do his job, the people will hold you responsible. And I think that they recognize that when they go there, the kind of response they got in 2008, in 2012, they are not getting it this time around. So they have to do a lot of work. It's not surprising that if you listen to Asedin Ketia, when he went to that region afterwards, he spoke to Evans Mensah. He said, look, the MPP are to blame for this. The MPP flag bearer is promising the people that when he comes, he will give them the money. Where is he going to get the money from? Because a lot of the money, some of the managers of DKM happen to be MPP people, and some of them are actually parliamentary candidates. His claim is, and of course we know that this is political, his claim is that the people may have taken the money and kept it somewhere. It is only because of that that Nanado is promising that he will give them the money. Whatever their arguments are, the people are unhappy. And if they are unhappy with you, they will punish you at the ballot. That is why the president, they will go there and do their campaign launch. They will go back there and go and do their manifesto launch. The president is going there. Asedin Ketia is going there. The first lady is there.
Chief of staff as well.
Absolutely, chief of staff was there. They want to make sure that the people don't punish them as a result of the anger that they bear on the basis of the losses that they suffered with DKM.
Okay, thank you so much, Malika Basdabo, for these details. Clearly, this is one area that we will be keeping an eye on, especially the Brunafo region and the dynamics in there with the microfinance scandal and how it's beginning to play a political role in this year's elections. Remember, this is your election headquarters. Everything election related, we'll bring it to you here first with the best analysis served right here on this channel. After the break, we'll take a look at the intriguing link between U.S. elections. Yes, we may have watched the debate, but some way, somehow, there is a link between Uncle Sam's elections and Ghana's elections. Details after the break. Stay with us.